Welcome back to Joyful Clicks. Today, we're venturing into the realm of atheism. Before we dive into today's topic, I want to clarify that this video is intended to present facts and information objectively, allowing for a better understanding of the topic without promoting any particular belief system. Now, when we talk about atheism, we're not talking about a lack of belief. We're talking about a rich tapestry of thought that questions, examines, and ultimately arrives at the conclusion that the universe operates on principles beyond the realm of the supernatural. And throughout history, some truly brilliant minds have championed this perspective. From philosophers who deconstructed the very foundations of religious thought to scientists who unveiled the elegant mechanisms of the natural world, these individuals have dared to challenge dogma and embrace reason. So, buckle up, stargazers, as we embark on a captivating journey to explore the lives and ideas of some of history's most renowned atheists, from the fiery critiques of Karl Marx to the razor-sharp wit of Christopher Hitchens. Our first cosmic voyager on this journey into atheism is none other than Karl Marx, a man whose name echoes through history, often sparking fiery debates and revolution. Now, you might know Marx as the father of communism, the architect of a socio-economic order that sought to dismantle class structures and redistribute wealth. But Marx's critique of capitalism went hand in hand with a profound critique of religion.
He saw religion, particularly organized religion, as a tool of oppression, a way for the ruling class to pacify the masses and maintain their grip on power.
Imagine a society grappling with poverty, inequality, and injustice. In such a world, religion, with its promise of an afterlife and divine justice, could serve as a powerful anesthetic, dulling the pain of the present and discouraging any attempts at rebellion. This is precisely what Marx meant when he famously described religion as the opiate of the masses. It was a system, he argued, that encouraged people to accept their lot in life, no matter how unfair, with the promise of a better existence in the hereafter. Our next intellectual giant on this atheistic expedition takes us deep into the labyrinth of the human mind, to the very heart of our desires, fears, and motivations. I'm talking about Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis, a man who revolutionized the way we think about ourselves.
Freud, like Marx, saw religion as a product of human creation rather than divine revelation. But unlike Marx, who focused on the socio-economic forces that shape belief, Freud delved into the depths of the individual psyche, seeking to understand the psychological underpinnings of religious faith.
He argued that religion was a form of wish fulfillment, a way for humans to cope with the anxieties and uncertainties of existence by projecting their longing for security and meaning onto an external, all-powerful father figure, God. Just as a child seeks comfort and protection from their parents, Freud believed that humans, faced with the overwhelming power of nature and the inevitability of death, turned to religion as a source of solace and reassurance.
Now, when you think about it, the universe doesn't really give us a whole lot to go on when it comes to the existence of a benevolent, all-powerful deity, does it? The vastness of space, the cold, indifferent stars, and the sheer scale of the cosmos can make one feel incredibly small and insignificant. It's almost as if the universe is a grand, indifferent machine, operating on principles and laws that have nothing to do with human concerns or morality. I mean, we've got black holes devouring entire star systems, these cosmic vacuum cleaners that show no mercy, no preference, and no purpose other than to consume everything in their path. They are the ultimate expression of the universe's indifference. Supernovas obliterating everything in their cosmic neighborhood, these massive explosions that can outshine entire galaxies for a brief moment before fading away, leaving nothing but remnants and radiation. They remind us of the transient nature of existence. And here on Earth, we've got earthquakes, hurricanes, natural disasters that strike without warning, causing untold suffering and destruction. They are a stark reminder of the planet's raw, untamed power. And let's not forget viruses. These microscopic entities that can bring entire civilizations to their knees, challenging our sense of control and security. They are a testament to the fragility of human life. It's enough to make you wonder if maybe, just maybe, we're not the center of some grand cosmic plan. perhaps we are just a tiny part of a vast, uncaring universe, left to find our own meaning and purpose.
And that's precisely the kind of existential freefall that Friedrich Nietzsche, the 19th century German philosopher, was grappling with. He was deeply concerned with the implications of a world without a divine overseer, a world where traditional values and beliefs were being questioned and dismantled. He famously declared, "God is dead," and no, he wasn't talking about some literal deity kicking the bucket. He was referring to the decline of religious and metaphysical certainties in the face of scientific advancements and rational thought. He was talking about the slow, agonizing death of the idea of God in the face of modernity, of science, of reason. The rise of technology, the expansion of human knowledge, and the increasing reliance on empirical evidence were all contributing to this existential crisis.
You see, Nietzsche believed that the traditional foundations of morality, especially those rooted in religion, were crumbling. He saw the erosion of these foundations as both a challenge and an opportunity for humanity to redefine its values and purpose. And what were we left with? Well, that's a question that haunted Nietzsche, and frankly, it should haunt all of us. Without a divine authority to dictate right and wrong, we are left to navigate the complexities of existence on our own. Because if God is truly dead, then what does that mean for our values? How do we determine what is good or evil, right or wrong, in a world where traditional moral frameworks are no longer applicable? What becomes of good and evil, right and wrong? These concepts become fluid, subjective, and open to interpretation. It forces us to confront the reality that we must create our own moral compass. These are the kinds of weighty questions that Nietzsche wrestled with, and his exploration of these themes continues to resonate with philosophers, theologians, and even your friendly neighborhood astrophysicist to this very day. His work challenges us to think deeply about our place in the universe and the values we choose to uphold in a world that may be indifferent to our existence.
Bertrand Russell, the British philosopher, logician, and all-around intellectual powerhouse, was a man who dedicated his life to the pursuit of truth, even when that pursuit led him to uncomfortable conclusions. And few things made him more uncomfortable than what he saw as the unfounded claims of organized religion.
Russell was a vocal critic of religion, arguing that there was no empirical evidence to support the existence of God, and that religious dogma often stood in the way of human progress. He famously quipped that most people would rather die than think. In fact, they often do. And I'd wager that a lot of those folks clinging to dogma over data might just prove his point.
He believed that humanity's best hope lay in embracing reason, logic, and the scientific method. He argued that by applying critical thinking and skepticism to all aspects of life, we could build a better, more just, and more rational world. Now, I know what you're thinking. A world ruled by logic and reason? Sounds about as likely as finding a unicorn riding a black hole.
But here's the thing. Russell understood that human beings are complex creatures, driven by emotions as much as by logic. He wasn't advocating for some sterile, emotionless existence. Rather, he believed that by tempering our passions with reason, we could create a society that was both compassionate and enlightened.
Now, when it comes to the founding fathers of the United States, most folks think of powdered wigs, breeches, and maybe the occasional powdered donut. These iconic images are often what come to mind when we think about the early days of American history. But there's so much more to these figures than just their fashion choices and revolutionary acts. But what many don't realize is that these guys, these revolutionaries who dared to challenge the greatest empire of their age, were also deeply engaged in philosophical debates that continue to shape the world today. They weren't just fighters and statesmen, they were thinkers, philosophers, and visionaries who pondered the big questions about human nature, governance, and society.
Take Thomas Jefferson, for example. Jefferson was not just a political leader. He was a polymath, a man of many talents and interests. You know him, the guy on the nickel, primary author of the Declaration of Independence, and a man who believed that the pursuit of happiness was an unalienable right. His contributions to the founding of the United States are well documented, but his intellectual pursuits are equally fascinating. But did you know that he was also a fierce advocate for the separation of church and state? This wasn't just a passing interest for Jefferson. It was a core principle that he believed was essential for a free and fair society. That's right, folks, one of the founding principles of the United States, the idea that government should not endorse or interfere with religion, can be traced back to this Enlightenment thinker. Jefferson's views were influenced by the Enlightenment, a period that emphasized reason, science, and individual rights.
Jefferson, you see, was a man of reason. He was deeply committed to the idea that rational thought and evidence should guide our decisions and beliefs. He believed in the power of education, scientific inquiry, and critical thinking. Jefferson founded the University of Virginia, an institution that reflected his belief in the importance of education for a democratic society. He read widely, studied philosophy, and even took a red pen to the Bible, literally cutting and pasting verses to create his own version that emphasized the ethical teachings of Jesus while downplaying the supernatural claims. This work, known as the Jefferson Bible, reflects his belief in the moral teachings of religion while rejecting its dogmatic aspects. Now, you've got to admit, that's pretty bold for a guy living in an age when religious belief was about as common as smallpox. Jefferson's actions were revolutionary in their own right, challenging the status quo and advocating for a more rational and ethical approach to religion.
But Jefferson understood that a truly free society required freedom of conscience, the right of every individual to believe or not believe without fear of persecution. This principle of religious freedom is enshrined in the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, a testament to Jefferson's enduring influence on American values and governance. Now let's turn our attention to a biologist who's become as well known for his outspoken atheism as his scientific contributions. Richard Dawkins, a name synonymous with evolutionary biology and a fierce advocate for secularism, has left an indelible mark on both science and society.
Richard Dawkins, the emeritus professor at Oxford, first burst onto the scene with his groundbreaking book, The Selfish Gene. This seminal work introduced the concept of the gene-centered view of evolution, revolutionizing our understanding of natural selection and genetic inheritance. But it was his later work, The Blind Watchmaker, that truly thrust him into the center of the debate between science and religion. This book tackled the age-old argument of design versus chance, challenging the notion that life's complexity necessitates a designer.
See, Dawkins argues that the complexity of life, often cited as evidence for a divine creator, can be explained entirely through natural processes, specifically evolution by natural selection. He posits that the intricate structures and behaviors observed in nature are the result of countless small, incremental changes over vast periods of time.
Imagine a watch, intricately designed with gears and springs, all working in perfect harmony. Each component seems to have a purpose, fitting together to measure the passage of time with precision. You'd be forgiven for assuming it was the product of an intelligent watchmaker. After all, such complexity and functionality appear to be the hallmarks of deliberate design.
But what if I told you that this apparent design, this incredible complexity, could arise without any foresight or planning? What if the intricate patterns we see in nature are the result of a process that operates without intention or direction? What if instead of a conscious creator we had a blind watchmaker, a process that over countless generations blindly selects for traits that increase an organism's chances of survival and reproduction? This is the essence of natural selection, a mechanism that can produce the appearance of design without any guiding hand.
This, in essence, is the power of evolution, a force capable of sculpting breathtaking complexity from the simplest of beginnings. From single-celled organisms to the vast diversity of life we see today, evolution by natural selection has shaped the living world in ways that are both profound and awe-inspiring.
Dawkins masterfully dismantles the argument from design, showing how the intricate tapestry of life, from the smallest microbe to the largest whale, can be woven by the threads of natural selection acting upon random mutations. His work provides a compelling narrative that bridges the gap between scientific understanding and the wonder of the natural world.
His work is a testament to the power of reason and scientific inquiry to illuminate even the most seemingly mysterious aspects of our universe. Through rigorous research and eloquent writing, Dawkins has inspired countless individuals to look at the world through the lens of science, fostering a deeper appreciation for the natural processes that shape our existence.
Next, we turn our attention to Christopher Hitchens, a literary giant and a fearless critic of all things he deemed irrational, religion chief among them.
Hitchens, a self-proclaimed anti-theist, argued that religion wasn't merely wrong but harmful, even poisonous to society. His book, God Is Not Great: How Religion Poisons Everything, became a cornerstone of the new atheism movement.
Hitchens, with his signature wit and eloquence, meticulously dissected religious doctrines, exposing their inconsistencies, contradictions, and often barbaric origins.
He argued that religion, with its emphasis on blind faith and unquestioning obedience, stifled critical thinking, impeded moral progress, and fostered intolerance and conflict.
Imagine a world, Hitchens urged us, where instead of attributing morality to a divine being, we acknowledged our own responsibility for creating a just and compassionate society.
He believed that morality should stem from empathy, reason, and a deep respect for human dignity, not from fear of divine retribution or the promise of heavenly rewards.
Hitchens was particularly critical of what he saw as religion's stranglehold on education, politics, and public discourse.
He argued that religious institutions wielded undue influence, often at the expense of individual liberty and scientific progress.
He passionately advocated for the separation of church and state, believing that a truly free society must be one where reason and evidence, not dogma and superstition, guide our decisions. Joining us in this exploration of prominent atheists is Sam Harris, a neuroscientist, philosopher, and author known for his incisive critiques of religion and his advocacy for a worldview grounded in reason, science, and secular humanism.
Harris burst onto the scene with his best-selling book, The End of Faith, a searing indictment of religious extremism and the dangers of faith-based belief.
Harris argues that in an age of weapons of mass destruction and global interconnectedness, the luxury of holding irrational beliefs has come to an end.
He posits that faith, by its very nature, allows for the possibility of holding beliefs that are demonstrably false and potentially dangerous.
Think about it. When we accept something on faith without demanding evidence, we open ourselves up to believing things that are simply not true.
And when those beliefs involve things like martyrdom, holy war, or the end of the world, the consequences can be catastrophic.
Harris doesn't shy away from tackling these uncomfortable truths, challenging us to confront the dangers of religious extremism and the urgent need for a more rational and compassionate approach to solving the world's problems.
So, we've talked about a lot of big thinkers who've challenged traditional religious views. But now let's turn our attention to Daniel Dennett. He approaches the question of religion from a fascinating angle, looking at it through the lens of evolutionary biology and cognitive science. You see, Dennett argues that religion, like other complex human behaviors, can be studied scientifically. Think about it. The human brain is a product of millions of years of evolution, shaped by natural selection. We've developed this incredible ability to find patterns, to create narratives, and to believe. Now, these abilities have helped us survive, but they've also led us to develop beliefs in things that may not actually exist.
Dennett argues that religious beliefs, like gods and spirits, are essentially memes. These are cultural units of information that spread from person to person, much like genes. Just as genes evolve through natural selection, so too do memes. Ideas that are successful in replicating and spreading become more prevalent. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that religious beliefs are false, but it does offer a different way of understanding their origins and their power. Dennett encourages us to examine religious beliefs with the same critical lens we use for other aspects of the natural world. Ayaan Hirsi Ali is a truly remarkable figure, a woman who has faced persecution and threats for daring to speak her mind. Born in Somalia, she endured female genital mutilation and a strict Islamic upbringing. She eventually fled to the Netherlands to escape a forced marriage and became a vocal critic of Islam.
Now, my story is a stark reminder that freedom of thought and expression are not abstract concepts. but fundamental human rights that must be fiercely defended. My experiences led me to advocate for secularism, the separation of religion and state, as a means of protecting individual liberty and promoting human rights.
She argues that religion should be a private matter and that public policy should be based on reason and evidence, not religious dogma. This stance has, understandably, drawn criticism from some quarters, but Hirsi Ali remains undeterred, arguing that a society that values free inquiry and critical thinking must be willing to have open and honest conversations about religion, even when those conversations are uncomfortable. She refuses to shy away from difficult topics, such as religious extremism, honor killings, and the oppression of women in the name of faith. From Marx's critique of religion as the opiate of the masses to Dawkins's impassioned defense of science and reason, we've journeyed through the minds of some of history's most influential atheist thinkers. These individuals, each with their own unique perspectives and motivations, have left an indelible mark on our understanding of religion, secularism, and the human condition. They remind us that questioning established beliefs is not an act of rebellion, but rather an essential part of intellectual growth and societal progress. By daring to doubt, to challenge, and to explore alternative viewpoints, we open ourselves up to new possibilities and a deeper understanding of the world around us. Remember, the universe is far too vast and mysterious to be confined by dogma or limited by unquestioning belief. So keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep searching for answers. And who knows, you might just change the world along the way. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this exploration of atheist thought, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content on philosophy, science, and secularism. Let us know in the comments which atheist thinker you found most interesting. Until next time, keep those brains firing and never stop questioning.